Howdy, folks. Howdy, I'm Black Dragon. It's a pleasure to meet you all, see you all. Welcome to Black Dragon Biker TV. And as always, I'd like to thank you all for tuning in from wherever it is in the world that you happen to be. It is a beautiful night tonight. I'd like to bring on my co-host, Mike Ball. Mike Ball, how the hell are you?
What's going on, everybody? I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
You doing okay, buddy?
I'm doing all right. What about your nice little camera action there?
Oh, man, just doing fine, man. Just doing fine.
Yes, sir. We're doing well. I think this is going to be a really big one, man. I think this is going to be a really big one.
Yeah, man. How was your day today?
It was so, you know what I mean? I had to drive down to San Diego, which that was the good part, right? You know what I mean? Got to go down to the motherland, right? So got to hang out down there for a little bit, do a little business. And then it was pretty much just get ready for there's a lot of behind the scenes for this kind of production that we do here. It's not like we just get on camera, it's 25% of the job is being on camera. 75% of the job is confirming everything, getting things in line. I mean, people that we got to contact, people that are contacting us, it's nonstop. So tonight is going to be an epic night for MC Protocol.
Yeah, we're starting our MC Protocol sessions again.
Right.
Haven't really been doing that for a while. I've been really off on biker news as a mainstay for the last couple of years.
There's been a lot of stuff going on lately as well too, and then the integration of me coming in as well. There's different dynamics. Just things change,
Yeah.
And when I found you like 7 years ago, you were doing straight MC Protocol videos.
Yeah.
And you were doing it from your cell phone. And I remember watching this, and now you're in a studio and I'm here with you. That's crazy. You know what I mean? And
you're missing your ocean back there.
Yeah, no, I don't need an ocean. I don't need to fake my way. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's not a fake ocean.
Oh, it's not?
No, it's a
turn off. Okay, then pan around your camera.
It's fixed.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fixed.
So this is going to be an exciting one. Knowing that, first of all, I've even had my my own resume come into question. And so,
yeah, well, let's put it out a little bit. Yeah,
just a little bit. I'm not here to do any of this, or it's not about that. It's about understanding who you're talking to and understanding what they know. And I'm not going to go extensive or anything, but I did hang around, become a prospect, become a full patch member, become a vice president, became a president of my own chapter, and then I joined the national cabinet of an international motorcycle club. So
yeah, but there's something else that you did that I think is important. Because you're one of the few hosts I've had sit next to me. And the thing that you did that I find really, you're also a founder. And
part of it.
So
part
people who found and build motorcycle clubs and chapters, even if you're a young guy,
right.
You did that.
And I was a young guy, granted, I was a young guy and I still am a young guy.
Well,
I know that.
27 now? 27 now?
28, close.
28. So you were 23 when you did that? Maybe?
21.
21 years old.
And then I lost my leg at 25. And then I've continued to ride to this very day.
So you went across the ocean on a 13-hour flight.
13-hour continuous flight to Brazil.
Country of Brazil.
Yep.
That's right. And you brought a international motorcycle club back to America.
Well, they were somewhat established, and they needed a lot more than just a little bit of establishment. I think you know that. I think you need a lot of there's a lot of politics that go into play. There's a lot of people you need to talk to, and there's, as you know, there are people that are qualified that have those kind of networks. Simple as that. You know what I mean? And so, anywho, I know what it's like to be in that leadership role. And being that this is about, you know, its title right here, MC Presidents Trust, nobody and
Right.
no one. And
Right.
I'm going to break this down a little bit. So I know, first of all, me being where I am, and you have been at the absolute top, Mr. Black Dragon yourself, leading a motorcycle club isn't just about riding and brotherhood. It's a complex role. You know what I mean? And you've been at the very top of that, BD. And I want to break down the isolation of that, because when you're at the top, it's so cliche. They say, at the top it's lonesome. It's very lonely. And it seems like at that top moment, you'll have so many people turn their backs on you, stab you
Mm-hmm.
in the back politically. There's so much we're going to break down to this. The unspoken half truths. The memberships that are coming to you because they're friends of yours outside the club, and you're trying to understand their version of the story, but you got to remember people are only telling their side of the story that they want to tell. And so it doesn't matter if they're your best friend or not. And so a lot of the times people are not thinking for the betterment of the organization. They're thinking for the betterment of themselves. Right.
Right. So,
So I know you can speak on this isolation heavily.
so, when we talk about best practices and we talk about how to best run a motorcycle club, the thing that you have to be as a president is you have to be always on the job,
Right.
and you've got to be always um, working to better the MC,
Right.
and that's hard to do. That's hard to do because you're just a normal person. You're a regular human being,
Right.
and you're going to have the same flaws and influences as any regular being. Um, so one of the things that I point out to new presidents and young presidents when they're getting started out, sergeant at arms, anybody that's a decision maker, is that it is so hard to be, if you care, if you're not trying to be if you're not trying to be the dictator that tells everybody what to do, if you're trying to be fair and kind and warm, and especially if you have the disease of trying to make everybody happy, which is an affliction that a president will get out of sooner or later in his life. A president will get out of that affliction because it is a weakness trying to please everybody. But that weakness normally, especially when you're a new president, it gets on you and it attaches itself to you in the beginning. And one of the ways that it attaches itself in when you are trying to make a decision on one way to go or another way to go based on some information that you may have obtained. And so I want to talk about some best practices that you should use when making these decisions, because when a president makes a decision, sometimes that decision is so important it can take the motorcycle club back 5 years or 10
Absolutely.
or 20 years, or it can make the it can ruin somebody. When a president speaks, it is the most important thing because people put so much into the president. So when you make a mistake, it's amplified by the fact that you're the president or the national president or something like that. It's amplified 1,000 times bigger than it ever would be before. So you want to be as right as you can be for as many times as you can be. So one of the things that you can do is you can have some best practices. But I'll start it off with a story. There were two club brothers, and one day I get a call from one of the club. These were not only club brothers, but they were blood brothers.
Makes it complicated, right?
So I get a call from one of the blood brothers who says, "You're not going to believe this BS right here. My club brother, or my blood brother, has taken a video of me and my wife, or me and my girlfriend, riding on the motorcycle and put it up on his Facebook page. And so now my wife is going to see that. And my wife has actually already seen that. I'm in trouble. I might get divorced. And I can't believe my brother did that to me. And I want him out of this club right now." And the anger, I could feel it. And as the national president, I hear that story. I hear this come to me, and I'm mad. This guy's out of the club right now. Was my decision. And of course, I mean, who could do such a horrible thing? Well, the guy whose wife, the wife that was mad, she gave me a call and she said, "I bet you're going to put such and such out of the club." The brother that committed the wrong. "I bet you're going to put him out of the club." And I said, "Absolutely, I'm putting him out of the club. Look at this horrible thing he's done." And she said, "Don't you dare put him out of the club." And I was like, "Well, why is that?" She said, "Because his brother that did that to him was only responding to him doing it to him a year earlier. He took a video of his brother's secondary woman and put it on Facebook for everybody to see. His brother's just getting him back a year later." What a difference that made, in my opinion, now that I had both sides of the story. I might still have made the same decision, but now I'm not being jerked in feelings from one person to the next. This is what happens when you're in a position of leadership. People with half a story, or half the reason, or half the issue. And because they come to you with half a story, when they get you to act out of anger, out of passion or compassion, it's too late to pull that back. So as a president, national president, regional president, sergeant at arms, vice president, road captain, whenever you're in a situation where you're the decision maker, you got to always be cool, slow to anger, and approach everything in certain ways. So we're going to talk about next the best practices of what to do when confronted with situations. But I thought I would take a second to see what you felt or your experiences in something like that you would share.
Oh man, there's lots of them, man. There's situations that happen all the time, and as you said, it's a job. It's first of all, it's a thankless job, and it's one that never stops. You're forever getting the phone calls, middle of the night, and that's no exaggeration. You know, you really are getting them all the time, and you are expected to really answer them. And you can't really just go, "Oh no, I'll just deal with that tomorrow." You know, you commit a lot to yourself. And the unfortunate thing is, I think it's not unique to any one particular club. I think that this is pretty much universal because we're all humans, right? And a lot of the times people go, "Well, why can't we just see the betterment of the organization? Why can't we see the betterment of the of everything else?" But let me ask you this: we live in a world where everything is about me. Phones are about me, videos about me, social media is about me, YouTube is about me, everything else is about me. So now when you are embedded with this mindset nonstop, this is 24/7, outside the club, inside the club, no matter where you are, it's always about you. And so how do you expect anybody at that point to really look at the bigger picture? It's really hard. So when we're put into these positions, and these are responsibility. Okay, it's purely responsibility. You're not getting paid for this. Okay, it's different if you're getting paid. I never got paid. And it would be a different situation. I'd handled things a little bit, maybe a little bit nicer in the middle of the night, but I never got paid a cent. If anything, I always paid my dues or even covering for other people's dues. And I don't mean that in a mean way. What I mean by that is such as politics, as somebody coming in to church, throwing down, your club brother over here is having a problem, can't pay his dues. Guy puts in extra money into the pot just to put extra money into the pot to look good. There's all sorts of tactics when you could have used that money to help your brother out. Instead, you wanted to look good. There's so many things that go in this. And then there's this trust variable that goes in with all of this. So, Black Dragon, trust is a two-way street, right? But in a leadership role, it's often it's a really challenging path, right? So, how do you manage your trust issues within an organization? Because as we say in this, a president can't trust anybody.
Well, I go back to Khrushchev, the Russian leader who said, "Trust but verify."
Mm-hmm.
You have to, after you've been burned up so many times, it becomes difficult to trust. But you have to trust. If you don't trust anybody, if you can't trust anybody, then what good is the brotherhood? But knowing that there is an off chance that somebody is going to disappoint you, knowing that off chance does exist, then you have to be very good at verifying what people say. Trust but verify. I need to have a process by which I can use to verify what people are saying. And short of that process, all you are is trusting in the blind, and that doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't work for many reasons. Trusting in the blind doesn't work for a myriad of reasons. I can't trust in the blind. I have to have some reason to give somebody my unvarnished trust, some sort of guarantee that because I'm making decisions, and some of those decisions will be life altering. Some of those decisions will be whether or not somebody can progress, or whether they are demoted, or whether they're thrown out of the club, or disciplined, or even put out bad, or anything like that. So it's important that I get it right for the betterment of the club, for the betterment of the folks around me. And also, when you're a president, people treat you like a pastor. This motorcycle club is very cultish. People get cult-like followings. A lot of times, I tell folks, motorcycle clubs are not for individual-minded thinkers.
Right.
It's not. This is a beehive for real.
Right.
And there was this guy who used to run around by the name of Chuck Gines that would call himself a Sigma male.
I remember this guy.
And he would always talk about being a Sigma male, and Sigma males, they don't need anyone, and they think on their own, and this was true. There was no club he managed to be able to stay in. He found something wrong with every damn club he went to.
I expect that from a Gen Z guy.
Well,
you know what I mean? I don't expect this from a 45, 50-year-old man. What the hell's wrong with the dude?
He because the group think is not for everyone.
Right.
Not everyone can fall in line and ride in formation. Have you ever been in a club and met those folks that just cannot ride in formation?
Absolutely.
They cannot ride 2x2. They won't do it. It's not safe. There's the AMA advises against it. It's not safe. We can't do it because it's not in a good order of things. I don't feel comfortable with the guy next to me. It's more safe to ride staggered. Then you can get out of the way. What if a deer jumps across the road and on and on and on? But that's not how we ride, dude.
Nope.
We ride side by side, peg to peg, nut to butt. That's how we ride at 100 miles an hour. And if you can't hang with it, get your riding game up.
Well, you shouldn't be in a motorcycle club if you can't be riding.
Some people can't. They can't not get with meshing the gear in to make the assembly work.
Right.
They're the odd man out. It's the guy. Have you ever seen the guy who builds his own RV? Yeah, everybody else is rolling down the road in a RV by Diego Bay or somebody. They're riding in their what do they call those things? Winnebago. Everybody's got a RV by Winnebago just rolling, and this guy chops he welds the back end of a pickup truck together, and he's got some elongated pickup truck thing sagging in the middle, rolling down the road, and it's kind of rolling sideways, it ain't even rolling straight, and he's just as happy, just as proud because he did it himself. I did it myself. I did it. But the truth of the matter is, bro, that's good for you.
Right.
But you can't come in this RV camp. Do you know that in most RV camps, especially ones that you live in, they have a 10-year mark on RVs.
So they have a standard of RV that can be there.
Your RV can't be more than 10 years old. And if it is
now that's funny.
If it is more than 10 years old, it has to have a special permit. They've got to look at it up and down and see, oh, okay, your RV's right, immaculately kept. Okay, we'll take this 1966 relic because it makes the park look good. But we're not taking your 95
beat up, shot up
with stuff hardly working. Well, I don't have any place to live. You mean I got to go buy a $400,000 RV and that's what RVs are doing these days, $300,000-400,000, just to have your RV, because if it's older than that, like in Atlanta, there's no RV park you're going to go into with a 2005 RV. Right, it ain't happening. You know what I mean?
You got to up your game.
You can go
camp on the side of the road.
Well, you can go into the state parks. The state parks, they let you in. So they don't have that standard with the state parks, but the private parks, and it's all because of the standards, the weights and measures and standards that people have to measure up to. So the motorcycle club is the beehive. It is the ultimate anthill. It is the ultimate wasp's nest. Other things like mosquitoes and stuff, they don't have a hive, but motorcycle clubs do. And the leader of the hive has got to have their SHIT together. We have to get it right. And you can't always get it right, because being a leader of a motorcycle club is the loneliest profession. You have no friends. You have zero friends because you're always on the game. You must always be tuned into the game. And even your best friend, Mike Ball, that you grew up with, and you guys went to school together, and you came in the MC together, and you've always been best friends. And then one day you become the president. And he's not.
This happens a lot.
And then all of a sudden, he has an issue, and he is sure Black Dragon, his buddy, first of all, his buddy of 15 years.
Sure.
Second of all, his best friend in life. Third of all, the guy he came in the motorcycle club with. And fourth of all, somebody that Mike Ball will always be loyal to because that's my best friend.
Right.
Certainly he's going to make his decision based on me because this is where his loyalty lies. But as a president of a motorcycle club, your loyalty lies with the MC, with the betterment of the MC, with the enrichment of the MC, with what's best for the MC. Not mine, not me, not his, but we. What's best for we, the entire MC. That's your job. And so it might not ever occur in Mike Ball's mind that Black Dragon might make a decision not in the best interest of Mike Ball, who thinks that he's thinking in the best interest of the club, but because you're not the president, you don't see everything that the president sees, nor from the president's vantage point. And the president might have to look at you and say, brother, you're wrong, or you're right, but we're not doing it that way. This way is righter. This way is more right. This way leans more to the principles of where I'm trying to go. And therefore, I can't do it your way.
Right. And it happens a lot.
And then what happens at that point? Mike Ball becomes my mortal enemy.
Yep. And now it's a political agenda.
You go from best friend to mortal enemy. You lose every friend you ever. The longer you are president of an MC, the more friends you lose, especially if you're doing the job right. So what they try to do then is they try to line up people that are thinking they're in their best way. They try to line up people and stuff like that. And that's when you see the president showing favoritism, trying to do, because he wants somebody to like him. And he wants to be liked. And it doesn't work that way. You're not liked. Now you're being used, played by one political side or another. And a president must always be on point. So we go to another story. When I was in the Navy, I was, for a time, I was a lookout. And as a lookout, you have to learn a whole bunch of rules. A lookout, if you can think of a lookout, the lookout's job, if the lookouts had been doing their job, it's a good possibility that the Titanic might not have ever gone down. A lookout's job is to see that iceberg. His job is to see it.
Okay? I'm a licensed AB, able-bodied seaman. That's what your job is. You go out on the bridge and you watch and you look and you see everything. I was that for 5 years. I know.
So as a lookout, you're supposed to have no excuse. It doesn't matter how inclement the weather is. Doesn't matter how cold the weather is or whatever.
Or how foggy.
You're looking out. And you're listening, and you're looking and you're listening and your senses are turned on to make sure that you don't run into nothing. So there are certain laws that we learn and stuff. So we were on the way on the submarine, and the submarine, you don't have a lot of use for a lookout. It's only when you're up on the surface.
Right. A little different when I'm up on a cargo ship or a tanker or something like that.
You guys have lookouts the whole time. 24/7.
You and your U-boats, Sorry about it.
Yeah, the captain had said we were in the Northern Sea and we were hunting Russian submarines. This was a big thing back then. It was really, really wild.
Wow.
And so the captain had given an order that he needed us to be at a new spot at a certain time and not to dilly-dally around. We had to get to that spot. So as we're running across the North Sea, a Norwegian freighter starts to, and a freighter is a ship that is a commercial ship that's, you used to be on a freighter. So
no, I used to fuel all of them. I used to fuel all of them that came across.
You were an oiler. We called you guys an oiler.
So you remember the Tankerman PIC's person in charge that would come alongside with a barge, tug and barge and stuff like that? I was the barge master.
So submarines, we never went through that because we had a nuclear reactor.
You guys were different scale.
We never had to fuel.
I never fueled a U-boat or a submarine, by the way.
Yeah, we had a nuclear reactor. We just went on 25, 30 years, just roll. But but I did see a lot of that happening.
Mhm.
So so we called you guys Oilers. I think they were called AOs, auxiliary Oilers in the Navy, something like that. So but the freighter is a ship that is carrying like another word we use that for the merchant ships and freighters, and they carry all these big, huge cargo things, trailers, those cargo trailers that you
cargo
stack up.
containers. Yep.
Containers. There you go. And so this guy started sinking, taking on water, and he's putting out an SOS. So I was fire control. My job is to track all targets. We call everything a target.
Everything is a target. Absolutely.
Yeah, we call you guys targets. There's only submarines and targets.
Hey, for us, the only target was sailboats. Okay, so sailboats were targets for us. So, anyways, continue. I'm sorry.
So, by maritime law, they got the right of way all the time because they're not powered. They run by
we hate that because they'll run right in front of us and you can't see them and you think you just ran them over and they got the right of way.
So the captain is giving these orders that we're supposed to be at point 8. This freighter is starting to sink and he's sending out this SOS. So I'm looking over at the officer of the deck and I'm just an E5 at this time. There's 07s, 08s, 09s in the room. There's E7s, E8s, E9s in the rooms, 04s, 05s, all these people, but the captain is asleep. And so they say, "Hey, captain," or "Hey, officer of the deck, there's an SOS." And the officer of the deck's a young junior officer, and all that's in his mind is, we got to go from point A to point B. We got to be where the captain said be. And so he said, "Move on. Let's get to where we're going." And I, having been a lookout, I knew that it's illegal.
Yes, it's against maritime law. It's against maritime law.
It's illegal to drive past to sail past an SOS.
It don't matter how important your mission just was. You're right.
And you're not in wartime, so it's illegal to sail past an SOS. So I'm just watching all these guys. The captain said we need to be here at this time. Sail on. And I said, "Excuse me, officer of the deck, sir, you're not going to be able to sail past. You can't sail past that boat. It's sinking." And Bunch, mind your own business. Mind your stack. I was on the fire control stacks. Mind your stack, Bunch. And I was like, I look over at the chief of the boat. I'm looking over at him to say something. He's an 09. I'm an 05. I'm looking at the chief of the watch to say something. He's an 08. Not O, but he's an E8. The chief of the boat's an E9. There's E7s in there. E6s. I'm an E5. I'm watching and then there's other officers, and I'm watching the officers and the enlisted, and I'm just watching them all do this group thing. This group, we're going to all just ignore the law and watch this thing sink. And so I'm watching and I'm saying, and now my gut is like, okay, man, if you speak up, everyone's going to hate you. Everyone's going to hate you and nobody's going to like you. And that is a tough thing to go against, because all these guys in here are, hey, we're just going to let this freighter sink. And I'm saying to myself, what if I'm on that ship? What if I'm watching the submarine sail past me and I'm just SOSing my ass off? Same thing that happened to the Titanic. I mean, they're SOSing and nobody comes. So I said, you know what, man? I stood up from my stack. I said, we cannot leave a ship sinking. Gentlemen, we can't, it can't be done. Sit down, Bunch. That's an order. Sit down, Bunch. Sit down, Bunch. Sit down. Shut up before I have you thrown out of control. And I said, oh, you're going to throw me out of control? So I got up and I walked to the front door, and the cob shook his finger at me and said, you better not. See, the captain's stateroom was right next to the front door of control. He slept 2 feet from control. I opened the door and everybody's pointing at me because they know what I'm getting ready to do. You better not. That's an order. Bullshit. You better not. And I disobeyed all those cats. I stepped out of control. I left my watch station.
Yeah, you left your station.
I left my watch station.
Abandoned station.
And walked and burst straight into the captain's office or into his stateroom. And he's laying there asleep and he sits up looking at me like, what in the hell are you, E5 John Bunch, doing in my damn stateroom? And I said, Captain, they're driving past an SOS. And he said, what did you say? And I thought, okay, it's over. I'm done.
Nope.
I shouldn't have said that. And so I thought he was just trying to get clarification before he choked the shit out of me. What did you say? So I wasn't so bold this time. They're driving past an SOS. He said, say that again. I said, they're driving past an SOS. Right?
He's looking at you like,
this guy sprung up naked. I mean, the only thing he had on was his underwear. He jumped into his little shower shoes, pushed past me like I was a paperweight, ran into that control room screaming, what the fuck is he talking about? And he lost it. So now everybody is frantic. Oh my God, we've messed up. And then of course I'm getting the stares like, you. And
you caused all this.
I was like, I was sitting over here now, verified. I had my blue check mark.
Right. Absolutely you did.
I was like, well, I told you. Right. I'm sitting around.
I warned you, tried to tell you.
I'm just feeling so good about myself. I told you. And the captain looks at me and he's screaming at all them and he looks at me, get on the stocks. I turn around. So they get the away team and he's got all the engineers and they're figuring out how to build the submersible pump, how to have a long enough wire on it to get down into their bilges. And here we are headed for that ship to save it. Now, fast forward about 5 or 6 hours after the crisis is over. Everybody's mad at me and everything. Steve says Black Dragon about to catch the blanket party. Everybody's mad and everything. The chief of the boat calls me to the stateroom, his stateroom, called the goat locker. He calls me down to the goat locker, and I'm like, okay, I'm getting ready to catch it. But my insides felt good. We had saved lives. So he calls me to the stateroom and he goes, Bunch, I want you to know. And I'm thinking, oh, hell, he wants me to know that I'm dead. And, okay, I'm ready to die right here. He says, I want you to know you did a good job. You stood by your morals and you stood by your principles. You stood by the rules that you knew, the rules that you had studied. You're a good watchstander. And you stood up when everybody sat down, including myself. Now, you're going to catch a little hell around the boat, but you'll be all right. And so I walked out. On my way out, I walked back upstairs. I'm heading into the sonar room, and I look at the captain's stateroom door is open, and the medical corpsman is tending to him. This man is crying up a storm. No, the door only opened temporarily, and nobody was supposed to know. I was just happened to be in the hallway when that door opened, and he was crying to the doc saying, why am I the only one on the ship's mission at all times? These morons almost got us into an international incident, and he's breaking down. The doc is giving him some volume or whatever the hell he was giving him to calm him down.
Well, yeah, I mean, this could make international news finding out that you guys passed him. Absolutely.
And the doc says to him, and he goes, why am I the only one? He's crying and stuff. And the doc said, because you're the fucking captain. and it's your job to be on point at all times. Now take 2 of these and talk to me in the morning. Just hard. Submarine. They were hard on submarines. Just hard. Take 2 of these. Call me in the morning. You'll be all right. Cry it off. Catch you in the morning, Captain. And he stepped out of the captain's office. His name was Chester Palmer, the doc. He's dead now, but I'm in touch with his sons often, and I'm going to forward this story to his son so his son will know that his father was such a fine man, such a fine corpsman. He handled that captain. He packaged that captain up and put him back together in seconds. I tell that story to say that as a president, you're going to always be lonely like that. You're going to be the one that walks in control and find out that they took something you said to such a degree that they would actually drive past, sail past a ship in distress because they were so afraid of something else you said.
Right.
You have to parse your words with as much forethought. That's why you should be slow to speak as a national president, as a regional president, as a chapter president, as a state boss. You have to be slow to speak. You have to think about the impact of your words. I was giving a speech one time, and I was talking. I was giving a speech at a brother's funeral. We had a club brother die, and we took about 50, 60 of our folks. We all left on the road. It was over in Alabama or something somewhere. And 50, 60 of our folks went over there to get our brother from our brother who died in San Diego. We brought him back home to bury him. And he was a San Diego member, but it was the chapters locally that buried him. So I'm up giving a speech and I'm saying, when I was a prospect, and I was giving a story about this man and an interaction I had with him when I was a prospect. And so I laid the groundwork for what a prospect, for the whole story. And I said, prospects, they're just lowly beings. They ain't really worth nothing. And while I was saying that, there was a prospect sitting out in the audience. There were several prospects there. And when I got done with my speech wasn't even about prospecting. My speech was about what this man had done for me as a prospect when I was just so lowly and blah, blah, blah. But I'm speaking and my prospects are thinking that I think prospects are lowly pieces of garbage like delinquents on a submarine. If before you get your submarine dolphins, you're called a dink, a delinquent. Nobody gives a damn about you. You're just taking up oxygen.
Yes, you are only taking at this point. You are such a greenhorn that you have nothing to contribute yet.
I was trying to find I got some dolphins here.
Oh, I know you do.
And they're in one of these drawers. But before you get your dolphins, you're a nothing. And people call you nothing. The Navy doesn't. I've understand the Navy doesn't let you do that anymore.
They don't. They don't let you punch in your dolphins even anymore.
Yeah, that. So, but in my day in the Navy, that was
different time.
Yes, so they could call you names. You delinquent bastard. You just dink. You don't know anything. You're a dink, non-qual, air-breathing, scum-sucking piece of garbage. And I better not see you reading a book. I better not see you watching a movie. I better not see you napping. I only want to see you studying until you get those dolphins. You hear me? So, I always thought of prospects kind of like nubs in the Navy. And so when I get done with the speech and we're getting ready to ride back to Atlanta, I had like 4 prospects. I had some sponsors come to me. The prospects want to quit. Huh? The prospects want to quit. They think that you think they're nothing.
Wow.
And it was a unintended consequence from a speech I was giving to civilians, pumping up the pomp and circumstance of the motorcycle club and setting up the story of the hierarchy, this, that, and the other. And it dawned on me, as a person in power, you got to be careful of everything you say and every decision you make. because people will take this as a um, uh, a slight and affront. I can see all my submarine brothers and
They're in
my
here.
Navy brothers. This is my submarine brother Vernon Powell, and he also he's they call him Bolo. He back in the day, he used to be one of my students. I used to teach fire control systems and
Wow.
and tracking and targeting. He was one of my students from the early days. It's crazy that he was a student of mine, and all those years ago, 25 years ago or whatever, and still follows and listens to me to this day. Listens,
It's amazing.
it's crazy for me. But back in the day, he said we were called nubs. I remember that. And Dan, our family life, 421. He says, "Shellback, don't be a slimy pollywog." These were names that we called people.
Yep.
We called these people.
You can't do
names.
a lot of it. You can't do a lot of it anymore. You pull out your little card and go, I'm feeling emotional right now, you know?
Yeah, they have an. That's when I got out, about 95 or so. They had these things they called a training timeout cards or something like that, and you could, if the instructor was talking too hard to you, you could pull your training card and you held it up, and the instructor would have to stop talking back.
Yep. Right.
And then they took when I went to boot camp, we carried. What the thing was this? An M1 Garand or something like that? A big ass gun? Maybe it was. I forget the M. What it was?
You at the time. You probably had M16s.
No, they weren't M16s.
They weren't M16s.
No, they were the guns before that. I think they were M1 Garands or something.
And M1 Garands. I mean, they're still a fantastic weapon. But anyway,
14 pounds.
They're very heavy.
That they were, and you marched with that sucker with these big old boots on and these leggings, we called them, white leggings, and we had to scrub those suckers. And then I heard that they went to tennis shoes and they got rid of the rifles. Can you imagine going to boot camp and not carrying a rifle? Put that in. M14. Bolo said they were M14s. Thank you, man.
That makes more sense. Yeah.
They looked like, as I remember them, they were as big as damn M1
Grands. Well, M1 Grands, you got to think, M1 Grands, I mean, I didn't know how long they ran till, but that was a World War I weapon. But nonetheless.
Was it a World War I? I think it's a World War II weapon. Was it a World War I weapon?
You might be right, but I'm thinking it's a one.
Yeah, this is it right here. I just saw a picture of the thing. Yeah, this is it. That's it. That's what we carried. That's not M1 Garand.
Oh, okay. I got corrected. World War II. It was World War II.
Okay, that was a World War II weapon.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what the damn thing looked like. Let me see if I can. Okay. So I do have a picture of one, and yeah, they look like M1 Garands. They look real close to them, but
they're heavy, nonetheless.
Oh yeah, they're here. We're gonna pull this picture up right here. It was heavy slinging that thing around and carrying it. It's not like the little punk guns today, but
I know those compared, everything's carbon fiber and everything's super light nowadays. You know what I mean?
This is it. That's the gun.
Hey, and that's what not a magazine, guys. That's a clip. That's a clip.
Oh, there you go. Is that a clip? Okay.
That's a clip. That's not a magazine.
Okay, well, there you go.
People go, oh, yeah, I got a clip. No, you got a magazine. You got a normal AR-15 or an AK. But
this is a clip.
That's a clip.
And, I didn't, I carried that thing and I didn't know that.
Hey, man. Yeah,
this with a sling on it, and we marched around with this wooden made thing.
Jesus.
And I've heard they've gotten rid of them altogether now. Nobody
carries them. Dude, that's totally outdated. You know that. You
should carry a gun in boot camp. Jesus Christ.
You should be carrying, yes, in boot camp.
He says I'm full of it. I know they were still using slingshots and catapults and spears back there.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful.
We were pouring tar over the ramparts as well.
So
He said,
bringing
I
this
heard Noah was his no, Noah was my boot camp company commander. Yeah, that's true.
So
yeah.
leading a motorcycle club obviously meets more than what the eye, the surface level, right? You know, it's about navigating trust, truth, and the road less traveled. You know what I mean? We're definitely those entities that decide to go off the beaten path a little bit.
So
And
the,
the only thing
Go ahead.
is when it came to like all of the positions that I presented to you in the very beginning, is when I got offered all these positions aside from hang around, full patch, all that stuff, is I actually declined every single position, but the club made me do it. They said, "No, we know that this is for the betterment of the club. We know that you are the person for this. Whether you like to think that or not is irrelevant." And it was because not of any type of favoritism. It wasn't because of golden child. It wasn't because of any of that. It was because I showed no favoritism. It was because I looked at the entire truth. And these are things that you were just, breaking down earlier. And as every decision you make as a president, I mean, it impacts the entire club, right? So it's definitely hard to deal with this type of stuff because as leaders, oftentimes we hear parts of the stories or half truths, right? And so these are things where we cannot be acting off of impulse because there are a lot of times that we hear something and we're like, F that, let's get rid of it, or whatever the case is. The difference is we've got a table. That is what the motorcycle club is about, is we've got a table. We're supposed to be utilizing this table. And a lot of the times, motorcycle clubs are not utilizing this table. This is the times to be speaking up.
That's because the president's not utilizing the table.
That's correct.
So here's the point where you guys get your pencils and papers and pens out, because I'm going to give you the best practices, and we're going to try to do 5. We might get 10, but so here are the best practices for getting down to the bottom of a story and finding out if it's true or not, and making sure that you're acting in the best interest of the club with the most information you can possibly have for the amount of time that you have. So, number 1, approach, although it may seem impossible, if you're writing down this, even though it seems impossible and quite improbable, approach every situation with an open mind. That's number 1. Well, even if you're against, I'm against riding in the rain.
Yeah, I'm dead against it. Yep.
Even if you're against something, I'm against 2 men on the same motorcycle. Even if you're dead against it, when you are brought something, have an open mind, because a closed mind shuts doors. And if doors are shut, you can't consider possibilities and you can't get down to the bottom line of the truth. So as hard as it may be, avoid your prejudices and keep your mind open long enough to hear. 2, use your ears to listen to the whole story without cutting somebody off. If you can't hear the whole story before you start speaking, then you don't know what the whole story is from that perspective. Well, I already know what he was going to say. Yeah, really? You're a mind reader? Really? You're speaking out of his mouth? You're symbiotes. You've been assumed. You're part of the Star Trek, whatever those things were that assumed people into their, what were them things called? And now they touch you and your harmonic frequency becomes theirs and you become part of this big horde. No, you're not. You don't know what anybody's going to say. You think you know what they're going to say, and you might be right, but you don't know what they're going to say till they say it. So you have to listen. You have to shut the F up long enough to hear. If you can't hear the problem, if you can't hear the accusation, then you don't know what it is. 3, always trust but verify. You have to verify every story. You have to verify everything, and guess what? That takes time. So 4, allot yourself the time. Now, there are some things that are time sensitive. Like, we got to make a decision right now. We're getting ready to be surrounded and killed. So if you have to make a decision with no time, go back and revisit that when you do have time to make sure you did the right thing. Now, when we talk about trust but verify, you have to understand that, because we're going back to 4 or 3, whatever, which one it was, trust but verify. When you're talking about trusting but verifying, you have to remember that Mike Ball, your best friend, will tell you a lie, especially if he knows the kind of person you are, that you're not going to be for no BS. You're not going to be taking no sides. He won't necessarily lie to you, but he won't tell you the whole truth.
Right. That's the part right there that is so complicated within all of this.
So
right
he can we call that plausible deniability. He can always say, "Well, I told you." It's a small thing. It's a small thing. And the nuance is so small. Like a guy who comes into your club who is a pedophile, but he fills out some paperwork and he tells you enough of the story, but not the whole story.
Yep.
So he can always say, "Well, I told you guys I had this trouble." Dude, you never said anywhere in there that you took a 12-year-old around the corner. You
Right.
never said that. You said all this other stuff that nobody caught. People they're interesting. That's why there are some clubs you can't get into unless they have a background check. They want a background check.
Black and white.
Black and white.
Black and white.
So you can't be that pedophile who sneaks in, or cop, or
anything that we're against like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's called verification.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean I don't trust you. It means I'm verifying. It means that I'm looking at what you're talking about. So because you know that anybody could tell you anything at any time, because Mike Ball wants me to decide in the way that's best for him and his agenda. And you have to understand, when you're in that job, that everybody has an agenda.
Yeah, damn straight.
And you have to make sure that you don't. And it's easy to have an agenda. And when you find that you have one, you got to clear it. So 6 is always guide yourself by the bylaws. And that could easily be 1. You always guide yourself by the bylaws. And 7, seek counsel. You got road captains, sergeant at arms, you got a whole bevy of officers and professionals whose job it is to make your life easy. Delegate. Tell the sergeant at arms, I want you to go investigate this and come back to me with your findings before you make a decision. Use this counsel around you. Delegate. Bring these people to bear on the positions they have. If you have time to do that, do that. This way, you're able to make the best possible decision based on the factors you have at hand. I was trying to get to 10. What am I on? 8?
7 right now.
I think I'm on 8.
No,
Am
you
I on
might.
7? Am
You're
I on
on
7?
8 now. Yeah, you just finished 7.
I'm trying to think of 2 more. Help me out there. Anybody's got something? Help me out there.
I'm
I need
trying to
2 more.
think currently as well. Some that can reach us up to 10. Hmm.
8, always be willing to correct a bad decision.
Right. Drop the ego.
Yeah, you can say that. Drop the ego. Always be willing to say, "Oh, I didn't get it quite right. Let me
But we're
get it."
going to correct it now.
Heck, I had 3 more. 9. I think I'm done at 8.
That was beautiful. These are the exact things that needed to be discussed tonight. You know, I
Uh,
told you this
Coffee
behind this.
Penguin says, 9, set the example and be able to admit when you're wrong. You know, being
That's
able
part of
to
it.
admit when you're wrong is so strong, in especially when grown men, real men are following you. Nobody's looking for you to be right. It's like when you buy a car. You're not looking for that car to work forever. It's man-made. The car's going to break down. What you're wondering about is, what's the service going to be like after I drive out of here with this car?
Good
What's your service
analogy.
department like?
Hmm.
So nobody's expecting you um, to be the guy who's always right. But what they want to know is how you're going to handle it when you're wrong. And I think we'll go with Bolo for number 10.
That's a big one, is knowing how you're going to handle things when you're wrong. And a lot of the times that does set the difference of the tone of a really good leader rather than just a okay, maybe okay leader. You need to have someone that can go, you know what? I see what you guys are saying here. Let me go ahead and figure this out. I'll get back to you. And if you're wrong, listen, I'm wrong, man. Let's fix it here. And it's all good. Like, there's nothing wrong with admitting you're wrong. Like, that's part of life. We're humans. We're gonna make wrong decisions. It happens. So when we do these things, it's about how we handle ourselves. Like you say, be cool, calm, and collected, right? Don't be acting off the cuff just because you're emotional. Those are the most dangerous men in the world, is emotional men. Relax on that. Use a table, like I was saying earlier, use the table. The president needs to use his table, and he needs to delegate, because a lot of the times we take on this role, this responsibility, and it is so thankless. You know, it is so thankless. It's so lonesome. Um, a lot of the members all of a sudden now have a big disdain for you. Sometimes you even get more love outside the club than you do inside your own because of it. You know,
Absolutely.
these are just facts. This is not unique to one club, okay? Um, this is why I knew when I told you in the green room, or actually on the phone, I go, this is the type of conversation we need to have right here. This is the type of stuff right here that people need to hear, and especially from someone of your caliber. You know what I mean? Like I said, you have been at literally the tippy top. You know what I mean? And you know what it's like to not only be at that position, but then go across the nation and then open up all those chapters across the nation. And you took that. That's a very, very hard thing to do for you guys out there that have never done anything like that. That's not an easy task. You got so many people to talk to, so many things, and nobody knows about it. Everyone's just sitting there going, "Oh yeah, he has a meeting. He has a meeting." Yeah, that's how it is, right?
Oh, absolutely. And number 10, we're going to go with Bolo. Be consistent. That is
Yes.
one of the most important things you can do. And in my book, President's Bible, Chronicle 1 Principles of Motorcycle Club Leadership, I talk so much about consistency that it'll blow your mind. So you do be sure to get my book, President's Bible, Chronicle 1 Principles of Motorcycle Club Leadership. I wrote it in 2022, I think, 2022, early 2023, something like that. So make sure to get that book right there. So that is our discussion for tonight. This is my Mike Ball showing my website, blackdragonsgear.com, and all of my books that are there. My newest book, of course, is the Social Club's Bible, and we'll definitely be hoping that the ladies in the social club pick this book up because there's so much in there for you. So, my friend Mike Ball, what do you think about tonight's discussion?
Man, I really enjoyed it because it's very rare, first of all, to be able to discuss this with people that relate, first of all. Second of all, being able to put it on a public forum in a way that we can do it informational and educational at the same time.
Yeah,
that to me is what this platform and what we're doing is all about.
Well, this is how we started. So we just started trying to hopefully teach folks based on what we've been through. What I like, Mike, is that as a young man, I did this in my mid 30s, I think, when I started actually pushing these clubs and making the Black Sabbath a national club. I'm proud of you as a young man. You did this in your 20s. You went out and you went to Brazil and you brought a club back to the United States and
Thank you, sir.
Really worked hard in making it happen. So you saw a lot of these things as a less experienced person in terms of life experience.
Absolutely. I don't take that to me, that's a compliment. You know what I mean? So thank you.
So absolutely. So I'm glad to be able to talk to a young man that's had that experience because there will be a lot of people that are in clubs that have way more time than me, way more time than you, way more time, but they ain't done nothing.
Right, that's true.
When you have gone out and made your club bigger, wider, bigger, made a name for your club and carried your club on your back, you have a little bit different experience than those who have ridden on the laurels of the things you've created. They'll be the first person. I'm so tired of hearing everything you did for the club.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably because you haven't done shit for the club.
Usually it's an insecurity in themselves.
All you've done is rode around in the colors that others have provided for you, which is fine. We need those folks in the club too. Just don't go telling people that have worked hard what you're tired of.
That's the thing is it's really hard when someone gets in your face trying to do one of these when the whole reason why this club is even riding today is because of the connections and all the conversations, the work that was put in that you probably don't know about. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. That's what is frustrating because you want to do a big FU kind of thing when you're angry.
Here's the thing. If you did it for the right reasons, after you get over your ego storm, you still have to smile and say, when I was the boss, I did it my way. And I hope that was the best way for the club and as best as I could do. Now the other bros are doing their thing. So I'll be happy for them.
Right.
I'll still try to figure out a way to treat each and every one of them individually like a precious piece of invaluable
solid gold.
Yes,
sir.
Well, my friend, I think that's it. We're right at about an hour, man. And so this will be what our podcast does. We're going to be doing this a little bit more, and hopefully you guys will like, share, and subscribe this.
Yes, that's the biggest metric. That if you like the video, it takes 0.2 seconds, not even. If you do that, that's the most important metric on YouTube to let them know to put it into the algorithm. Just letting you guys know. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, just let them know. Okay, so tomorrow morning back with the news?
Yes, sir. So you guys already know.
Folks, this is the new year. We're 15 days in and we still ain't done right, but we're going to try to get back on time. Time is, the right time is we're supposed to do the show at 10 o'clock in the morning, which is 7
my time
on the West Coast, and then a show sometime in the evening. So we're going to be trying to do that at least between 1 and 5 MC Protocol shows a week, and of course the news in the morning, because as we are the #1 news station in biker news, and right now Mike Ball in all the world.
That's right. Facts.
Cowabunga.
It doesn't get any better than that. That's right.
I wanted to show you this here, Mike.
And that comes with consistency. You know what I mean? You've been doing this for 7 years. That's why your word, not only in the set, you know, because it goes way beyond that, but online as well, is consistency. You are out here being consistent, putting out your stuff and your news, and you do it to the absolute T, the best of the ability that you absolutely can.
It's our stuff and our news now. Look at this, Mike. 158,000 subscribers.
Jeez, man. Look, I got to do an entire full screen for everybody to look at that. Wow.
58,000 subscribers. 2,000. Look at this. 62 million views.
Holy crap.
So either 31 million people have seen us twice, or 62 million people have seen us one time, or 15 million people have seen us 4 times, or 4 million people have seen us.
All I know is that's a whole lot of eyes.
That's all
I know. That's a whole lot of eyes.
So we got started June 29th, 2016. We are 37,000, our rank on Social Blade. 37,000, which is not bad of considering all the millions of channels that they have out there.
Just to let you know, real quick, there's only 200 out of the 200 million actual YouTubers. There is only 200,000 that have 5,000 subscribers.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
And then it breaks down even further that 50,000 only have 15,000. And then it breaks down even further that you are in a niche right now, so close. So you are anything past 100 grand is like in the top 10% of all of YouTube.
How many YouTubers have 100,000 subscribers?
And then in percentage. Because there's 200 million.
Look at this. Only 306,000 channels.
That's what I'm saying. And out of the 200 million, so break it down into percentage, you know what I'm saying. So,
wow. Yeah. Only 306,000
out of the entire world. The entire world, Black Dragon. Yes.
Wow, man.
That's you. Wow. You're in that percentile.
Oh, look at that. I'm supposed to get one of these soon.
You are going to get that. And remember how we're going to get that? I told you what we got to do it.
Yeah.
You've already you surpassed it by like 60,000, but we'll get it for you. No, but don't worry, everybody. I will do it for him.
I just wish that you got one every 100,000.
Yeah, Biker News World. Much love to you. I respect that.
Oh, Biker News 70,000 to 158,000 in a few months. How do we get Mike Ball on our channel? You can't have him. You cannot have him. No.
Hey, I will take your guys' money, and we can talk.
I tell you what. It is amazing when Mike studies this stuff. We talked. Listen, I'm studying now. Mike talks to me about how he studies analytics and things like that, and the small things, like the changes in our thumbnails. Yep. Our past few thumbnails have been made by Mike. Just all the little and you saw it with Sostagosa's channel. You saw that thing. Just what is he? 600,000 now?
600K. Yep. Hey man, it must be nice to be making 25 grand a month, you know?
Hollywood went from 42
to 82, and then
82.
And then
about that time is when I got that's when
you got pissed off. I got pissed off.
I was like, okay, what are you guys doing? You buying views? What are you doing?
Yeah, that was his thing. He goes, you guys are buying subscribers.
I'm sorry.
That made me laugh on the phone.
I'm watching Hollywood. There's no way. I see him. You're buying subscribers. You're buying them. I know you're buying them. I want some.
The full excuse right there. That really happened. ladies and gentlemen. That really happened.
And he was like, if you want me to help you, all you have to do is ask.
Yeah. And look at where we are today. Look at that. Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy. That's crazy. But I'm very, very happy. Thank you so much.
Vice versa.
And we're doing our thing out here, man. We're doing it. So
that's right.
We're trying to tune into the people and give them what they want. So, all right, my friends, that's it for us tonight, man. It's 9:24 here on something like 6:24 over there. So you guys, listen.
Yes, 6:24. Early.
You guys, right. You guys, listen. Have a good time out there. I will be at the PROC this weekend. The PROC, this is the 20th anniversary of the PROC. Let me see, PROC 2024. Let me pull this up for you guys so you can see this. It's called the Pro Convention, or the Motorcycle Club Professional Convention. It's going to be at January 18th through the 21st at the JW Marriott in Indianapolis, Indiana. And it's going to be on 10 Southwest Street, Indianapolis, Indiana, 46204. So it's too late to get pre-tickets, but you can show up there. Here's a picture of the PROC. At the PROC, it's the Motorcycle Club Professional Convention. So they teach all kinds of things, from how to have a 501c motorcycle club. They have speakers coming in from all over the country, and they may have a speaker from Canada. The guy who opened up a motorcycle club in Canada, and he is coming down. His name is Chrome. He's coming down with his crew from Canada to the PROC this year. So all kinds of information on the professional way to run motorcycle clubs is going to be going on here at the 20th annual. They started this 20 years ago. Some guys in a bar decided what they wanted to do is bring all, at that time, public relations officers, motorcycle clubs that had public relations officers. They wanted to bring them all together and teach them the same kind of things to apply across the biker set, so that everybody was kind of doing things the same way, intelligently, and informing each other of all the kinds of stuff that could be going on, and stuff like that, laws and things like that, almost like an MSO, a motorcycle rights organization. They were doing all this now. Now, there are going to be representatives there from INCOM. There's going to be representatives from the COCs. This thing is really getting to be huge. Sometimes with 4, 5, 10,000 people will be. I remember I went to one that had 10,000 people there. So the first time I ever spoke at the PROC, I think was like 2014, 2015, something like that. The PROC is what gave me my start as a public speaker on the biker set. So it is very exciting to do this, and I hope to see you guys there this weekend. And if not, definitely make sure to be there next year. So anyway, that's the PROC, and that's where we'll be this weekend. We'll have a booth there selling books. If you bought my book, bring it if you're going to be there, and I will definitely sign it for you if I have it. And if you don't have my books, you'll be able to get the Sergeant-at-Arms Bible, the Road Captain's Bible, the Prospects Bible for Women's Motorcycle Clubs, the Prospects Bible, and my new book, the Social Clubs Bible, available on Amazon Kindle at blackdragonsgear.com. And of course, we'll have them on sale there in Indianapolis, Indiana. All right, that's it. I'm Black Dragon. I really enjoyed you guys this evening. Be looking for some more of this. That's my 2 cents. Love to hear your 2 cents in the comment section below. Thanks for tuning in. Blue shoes, hang yourself with a loose noose, no truth. You the fool if you don't hear when it's real. You plan to deal with your life, one day you bound to get killed. I done walked through the hood, seen a lot of blood spill. Mama's crying, baby's dying, getting served in the field. Don't regret the way I feel about the day in the game. Don't make no sense for you to drive up in the step lane. President of your mighty motorcycle club by delving into the pages of Black Dragon's newest book, The President's Bible, Chronicle 1, Principles of Motorcycle Club Leadership. There you will learn to advance your skills in applying the 14 scientific principles of leadership similar to those taught to officers in the United States Naval Service. Available in hardcover, paperback, and ebook. Get yours today on Amazon, Kindle, or order it at your local bookstore. Order your autographed copy from blackdragonsgear.com. Be the best motorcycle club president you can be. Get the book.
Get Black Dragon's first book, The Prospect's Bible, to learn how to join a motorcycle club. It has been an Amazon #1 bestseller for the past 7 years and is required reading for over 3,000 motorcycle clubs worldwide. This book is a must-have for new people venturing onto the motorcycle club set. It will teach you how to prepare yourself for service to the motorcycle club nation and show you how to qualify a motorcycle club to be worthy of your service. Available on Amazon, Kindle, and for order at your local bookstore. Get your autographed copy at blackdragonsgear.com. Be the best motorcycle club prospect you can be. Get the book.
Wait, tattoos all on my face. Hey, I can see in their face.